Welcome back to the Push Forward podcast, the show for ambitious creators who are building real businesses online. Whether you're a musician, artist, coach, gamer, or influencer, we give you the strategies, the tools, and the mindset shifts that you need to grow your brand, monetize your content, and build sustainable creator business. Let's get into today's episode. In today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about Pushbio attending the FITCE Conference in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we met with leaders from over 70 countries. We were able to network, meet some creators there. We had a booth, and so we not only attended it as an attendee doing the sessions, but we also were an exhibitor, like I said. So I'm joined today on the podcast by my son, Luca, who has joined me over the last, 6 months for several events with Pushbio. And we're going to talk to him about what it's like working and just learning more about entrepreneurship, business, networking, communication, all those things that, in my opinion, most young people should be learning, but they don't typically get the chance to do so. So he's a lucky guy, and we're going to talk to him today about that, but also talk to him about how he uses Pushbio to embed his music and his different social media channels, but ultimately just use it as a marketing tool. It's hard being a creator. You have to treat it like a business, and, whether it's using one tool or 10, it can be a time sucker and take away time from you doing the craft that you want to do. So we're going to talk about that today. With no further ado, Luca, we want to welcome him to the podcast.
Thank you for having me again. Great to be back here.
So as you guys know, we had him on the podcast last time, and we talked about his music a little bit. But like I said, today we're going to focus more on the business side of it. But I will give the audience a little taste of Flinchin', which is a track that he dropped earlier this week on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. And of course, the links through the Pushbio page as well. But I want to start with your overall impression. I've been going to conferences for over 30 years, believe it or not. 1995. The first conference I went to was in Las Vegas, and I've been to conferences everywhere, 30 years, and I don't get tired of it. I love talking to people, getting that face-to-face, and it's something that I think, like, for those of you who are listening here, the ones who are creators or digital nomads or, running e-commerce companies, sometimes you can feel lonely because building your business and you're creating content or selling product, and maybe you're not doing the face-to-face, which is so rewarding in my opinion. Okay. But we're going to talk to Luca about that. And so my first question for you, Luca, is what were your first thoughts walking into FITC conference, seeing so many business leaders from around the world?
I think it was just impressive, to be honest, like knowing that I'm going to be speaking to people from 70 different countries and making those types of connections. It's pretty much priceless, to be honest. Like experiences like that, I think everyone my age, and honestly, everyone who is a creator or wants to get into business should take those kinds of opportunities, because there is nothing like a face-to-face connection. You can be online and people could know so much about you, but there's nothing that's going to make the same type of connection as in person, getting to talk to people and getting to know what they're about, what their business is about, where they're from, their story, what their life was like. You could really take advantage and grab someone's emotion like that.
It's kind of like, I would say, practice for you for in the future when you got to talk to your fans, right? So talking like that. So my second question is networking as a teenager. So for those parents out there, mompreneurs, dadpreneurs, who you have a business and you have a teenager at home, and I'm sure you're trying to get them to get out there with you, and they're like, no, I just want to be online. Take them out there with you, because it's, they have the potential, and you just, give them a little direction and guidance, and they'll do the rest. Believe me, it's, you'll see a different side of your kid that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. I think it's very empowering. So I want to ask you, Luca, how did it feel talking to adults, business leaders, diplomats? As you know, there were ambassadors from different countries. There were some national recording artists there, entrepreneurs, creators, many of them much older than you and much more experienced, right? With accomplishments and all of that. I'd say the average was, like I said, 50 years old. And there you are, 15-year-old Luca, taller than most of them. But, they didn't think you were 15 because of the way you were communicating. So talk about that.
Yeah, I think it was incredible, to be honest. A lot of people, I'd say probably about a third of the people were asking like, "How old are you, man? You look young, whatever." And a lot of them thought I was like, but somewhere between 17, 19, around that age. And it was funny, to be honest, because to see people gain a sort of new type of respect for you because of the fact that I'm young. I don't know a lot of people my age that get those types of opportunities. So even if they want to, it's a huge opportunity. So if you can get that type of opportunity, definitely take it, because even just talking with people, not necessarily even asking for advice, because I did ask a couple of people, for different tips of getting out there and all of that. But I think generally just getting to communicate with people that are on, like you said, a higher level accomplishment wise, it definitely gave me some insight as to like, what is their mindset? What do they do every day? How are they communicating with me? Like, in difference to how I'm communicating, because I could be as good as I want. I still don't have the same experience as people who are, like you said, on that average of 50 and have been doing conferences like you for 30 years. So yeah, it's incredible.
And in terms of, I'm a big believer of learn by doing. So in terms of learning by doing, what did you learn about business communication or marketing that you maybe didn't expect or go into? I mean, obviously you and I, before the show, we talked quite a bit about what your pitch should look like, what the etiquettes, body language. We really dug deep into how you have to be intentional and present when you're talking to people. And I think, like I said, it's something that can be taught. Even if you're a natural at it, some people feel like, oh, I'm naturally an extrovert or social or whatever. But all this can be taught. You just have to have the desire to do it. Like, so for you, was there anything in terms of business communication that you discovered about yourself?
One thing I think that, even going to all the conferences that I have before with you, that I noticed more in this one, I think maybe because it was more international, is that depending on what you're pitching to the person, because I got to see a lot of people pitching different things to me and to other people, right? I got to witness a lot of that. You really have to personalize your communication to the person that you're talking to. So, some people are going to be more engaged than others. And if they're not as engaged, you're going to have to make a little bit more effort presence wise. I have to bring out a little bit more of my extroverted self. Even if I am, like you said, a natural extrovert, I have to bring it out more, because for some people that are not, as communicative originally, I have to say, oh, so where are you from? What do you do? What is this? I ask a lot more questions to get them talking about themselves, and then, hook them in with the pitch, because people that are like a certain type of personality don't want to hear the pitch immediately. And then other people want you to get straight to the point and just hurry up, do the pitch and go. Like, definitely personalizing my style of communication and adapting it to different people.
Yeah, so he was turning on the charm, is what he's saying. That's ultimately what it is. But really, let's talk about using Pushbio, because we were there to promote our product, Pushbio, right? And unfortunately, my co-founder, Sharif, who lives in the UK, he couldn't make it there. And so you've been joining me at these events, and so, but what's interesting is you've been using Pushbio for your creator business, and really, I say creator because that is what you're doing. Specifically, you're a musician, a rapper, and we're going to play your music here in a bit so that they can get a feel for what your talent looks like, and then they can vote on it, from 0 to 10. But no, I'm kidding. But really, as a creator, that it's hard doing all of the different things that you need to do. It doesn't matter if you're a streamer, someone who's doing music or sports or whatever the digital creation is, right? Visual, audio, doesn't matter. It's a lot of work and there's a lot of moving parts. So talk about being able to use Pushbio to grow your audience and connect things like Spotify, YouTube, and social media and all of that.
Well, honestly, it's easy to promote something that I use so often. So I'd say this is Pushbio being one of the greatest tools I ever seen and used myself, because I have used many other tools before with you, with work and with music. And a lot of people I think, are still stuck on the idea that you need an entire team of like dozens of people to be working on your stuff to get it done. And you really don't. If you get into the process of using Pushbio like I have, like, okay, so you could use the tool to create an entire landing page like I have for linking music in my case, but you can link videos, you can pretty much any other creation that you're doing, and people can access it so easily. So it has the link to my SoundCloud, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube Music, pretty much everything that I'm on. And I did not need a whole team to do that. I worked on it. I understand how it works. It's really, really easy to use. So I think that is one of the questions that I got very often at the conference as well, which is that, hey, is it hard to learn to use? Am I going to have to spend hours learning how to use it? And consistent payments and different offers like that is inconvenient for people. This is simple. It's really simple. You could teach this to like a 5-year-old. It's amazing.
Well, since I allowed you to come here and give Pushbio a shameless plug here on the Push Forward podcast, because, you know, like we started doing this Push Forward podcast, I don't know, 2+ years ago. And at first I had a lot of different guests, and I did a lot of episodes around, you know, anything that would benefit you, the creator, solopreneur, business owner, marketer. And it's evolved, you know, and these days we've been leaning more into sharing with you guys the benefits of the tool, because I really believe that, guys. You know, like, look, for most of you, you go online, you know, you'll see Alex Oliveira. I also own a marketing agency that I've had for 16 years, Predict. And when I joined forces with Sharif, my co-founder, I did so because I really believed that this tool could truly save a lot of time and money, which is two things that most solopreneurs are short on. Okay. And so if you could use a tool, and I'm not even talking about the AI component of it. There's AI component of it in there that you can connect your OpenAI, you know, key, or just generate content using that. So again, things are changing, and in some ways, yes, it's a little bit scary with AI, but in a lot of other ways, it's making tools like Pushbio more available to everyone, not costing an arm and a leg. All right, but now that we allowed Luca to do a shameless plug for Pushbio, I'm going to allow him to give a shameless plug about himself. So what I want you to do is, tell us your stage name, right? What kind of music you're dropping, and then we are going to play Flinching, and then you're going to tell us what, you know, like kind of like what that track is about, how you go about it. For people that don't know about the genre, you know, so I want you to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll play the music.
All right, perfect. Well, my stage name is LKO. Spell it exactly how you hear it. I make rap. I make music. Honestly, I like to call it rap, but it's. I hope that everyone can connect with it regardless if you get into rap or not, because I have had a lot of people come to me and say, hey, you know, I didn't originally listen to as much rap, and then after I heard your stuff, you know, it put me on. So I felt that way about a lot of different artists before, and it's an honor to be able to bring that type of experience to people. So yeah, I love it.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna pause here, and we're gonna play Flinching, and then you know, we'll hopefully get some feedback from the audience.
What were they thinking? They talk like they been drinking. Handle my business and come up on the vision. Walk in the building and they all be shifting like why they flinching? Why they flinching? I'ma go off. That's my fans, I can't do no wrong. Hold up, I'm too cold. LKO and on the go. I'ma go off. I'ma go off. Like why they flinching? Eat up the game like soul food. Whip in the kitchen like Nobu. Super Saiyan with the flow, dude. You cannot touch me, Goku. I pay SAP, cause it's rocking when you got IOUs. Yes, it gets shaking when you at the top. I got my spot, watch me really rock. I hear a lot of trash in your talk. Get on our wax, or we can box. I cannot take you serious. What were they thinking? They talk like they been drinking. I handle my business and come up on the vision. I walk in the building and they all be shifting like why they flinching? why they flinching? I'ma go off. Ask my fans I can't do no wrong. Hold up, I'm too cold. High LKO and I'm the goal one. I'ma go off. I'ma go off. Like why they flinching?
All right, and we are back. There you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed LKO's music. And look out for him. I mean, the guy's doing school. He's doing basketball. He's doing music. He's doing conferences. I mean, you're doing a lot for a 15-year-old. So very, very proud moment for dad here and for mom as well. So all those parents out there know, you guys know how it is. It's like you want to see your kids be successful in everything that they do. So I'm so glad that I'm able to provide that opportunity for him and that he grabs onto it like with a lot of passion and does it. Now, talk to me maybe, before we close out today's episode of the podcast, the importance of face-to-face, we talked about a little bit, but maybe was there someone that you met at the conference? Like, so before we went to the conference and we're there setting up the booth and we're driving to the conference, like, I mean, there was the pre, the during, and then post game, right? We're in the post game now, following up with a lot of people. But when we were going to the conference, you didn't know that you were going to meet certain people, right? 70 countries, over 2,000 people. Was there a person or two, a business person or two, someone, a musician, or that you can remember that going into this, you had no idea that this opportunity was going to come to you and connect with you, because that's the thing. Like when you go to these conferences, we all have like sort of like an overarching idea of why you're going. You're like, I need to grow. Great. I need to connect with people. I need to make more money. Great. Those are great things. But you don't know specifically that the forces of the world and the energy and the mindset that you're putting out there is going to bring you together with someone that could make a big difference in your life, and vice versa. You could make a difference in their life. So I know of at least a half a dozen stories for myself, and I know some of yours as well. But share with the audience maybe a couple stories, or the story about the director lady of the county who is in charge of all the music, and like how that came about. You met also another musician and a couple other people, just because you went into it not knowing you were going to meet these people, and now it's going to benefit you in ways that you didn't even know that on Tuesday when we were on the way down.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised, to be honest. These types of conferences, like you said, you always have an idea of what you're going there for, and you never really know who you're going to meet. So yeah, I'll start with that story. The director of all the events, in Broward County, Paola, she's legit, honestly. I've looked her up. I've seen what she does. They shouted her out during the conference, and she got a lot of really big artists there in the conference. So I know for sure she's making big moves. How that came about is I saw someone that I saw back in a conference in May of this year. And she's a photographer, she's a videographer, and she was asking about the business, Pushbio, and I, of course I was giving my pitch again, and she was asking, am I still doing music? And I was saying, yeah, of course I just released my first song back in September 1st. I have 8 official songs out right now, 8 official singles. And she was like, wow, you should talk to Paola. She coordinates all of these events. She's who gets performers here. And man, shout out to everyone there. They made a huge push for that. That was incredible. They had to get Paola's official agreement and permission to give me her contact. So it was very legit. Honestly, I'm surprised that I even got to meet her because she's that official. And then there was another artist there who was brought there by her. I believe Paola brought him there. Teddy Derulo, amazing guitarist, amazing artist, and he was a nice guy too. I think a lot of artists and a lot of officials that talk to people who are not necessarily as accomplished as them get kind of like a nose up kind of demeanor, just looking down on anyone that isn't as necessarily as accomplished and all of that. And he, man, I didn't see any of that with him. He was amazing talent, but treats everyone the same. So yeah, I'm very grateful to have met all these people, very accomplished people. So,
well, what an incredible experience, not just for us as a dad and son team, right? But as a reminder that entrepreneurship is not limited by age. I mean, again, we actually saw a baby there too, but no, really, I mean, we would say from 15 to 100 years old. I met one guy that was 92 years old, and he was out there hustling, man. So, don't let your background, your experience, lack of, wealth or education, anything, right? Just go. And again, whether you're a student learning to network, as we saw so many high school students there that were attending the conference with some of their schools, or business leaders who are, in need of meeting with others or creators or people in government. I mean, in this case, it was a global conference. So it was pretty incredible, but it is about showing up. It is about shaking hands, about the follow up, the follow through. That's why I talk about the post event. So, if you're a creator, you have a business out there, you want to go out there and learn from others, not just do everything virtually, because there's a much bigger level of satisfaction and gratification when you go out there and you connect with people face to face. And for us, this was more than just promoting Pushbio. It was about inspiring the next generation to dream big, take action, and use technology to turn those dreams into reality. Thanks for tuning in to the Push Forward podcast. If you got value from today's episode, share it with a fellow creator, leave us a review, and don't forget to check out Pushbio. It's our all-in-one toolkit for creators looking to turn their passions into profits. Head over to pushbio.io to get started for free, or claim our limited time lifetime deal before it's gone. See you next time, and keep pushing forward.